This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels.
Welcome in, one and all, as we count down the huddles that are remaining this season. Just a few. Less than a full handful, as a matter of fact. This time last week, optimism reigned supreme. I was picking the Packers to get a win, and in the first half, I looked like Nostradamus. In the second half, I felt like a fool. But that being said, the Packers end up losing. They're now out of it. The divisional round playoffs get underway this coming weekend. And the Bears, they're going to be taking on at home at Soldier Field. They're going to be taking on the Rams. So L.A. is coming West Coast to East Coast, and they'll be taking on the Chicago Bears. And maybe Sean McVay, who is a buddy of Matt LaFleur, maybe he ends up feeding the S sandwich to Ben Johnson before it's all said and done. So we'll wait and see. Going to be joined in a short bit, a couple minutes here, by our guy, Mike Clemens. So if you kind of hang out with us tonight, Mike and I, an hour's worth basically, saying how we're looking. And we'll talk a lot about this Packers team. The White Paper Smoke has not come out at 12:65 as of yet. We still do not have word as to what exactly is going to go on. A lot of rumors taking place right now. And we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see if they end up signing Matt LaFleur to an extension, if they end up, moving on, if they can't come to some sort of an agreement, or what. But we don't have any word as of right now. A lot of speculation right now, but nothing official out of 12:65. And they're probably doing some evaluations, looking at different coaches who will and will not return. If indeed Matt LaFleur does return, is there the trade option, as we talked about a little bit earlier today with Rob Reichel, whether or not it would be time for maybe the Green Bay Packers to make that kind of a move, get a trade, get a draft choice, maybe move on in the coach. I don't know. There's a lot of different scenarios that are on the table. We are glad you are with us, though. We always appreciate you being here, so thanks so much. If you want to watch us each and every day, you can on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. youtube.com/Bill Michaels Show. You find everything there. The Huddle, the program on the daily Green and Gold postgame show, which, by the way, we'll tell you coming up here momentarily. We've got a new home for the Green and Gold postgame show coming up this year. We're excited about that. And you can always track us down on Twitter, on X, at Bill_Michaels, at Mike Clemens NFL. You can find Mike there. You can also find Grant Bills at Wisco Grant. And then we're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, The Bill Michaels Show. You can find us on the Twitch app, the Kick app, the LinkedIn app as well. Our app, which is Wisco Sports Zone. You can find it there. And then don't forget our app, like I said, is not only Wisco Sports Zone, but you can go to wiscosportszone.com, and then you can find all the information there as well. TheBillMichaels.com is the website. You can email the program and stay in touch. TheBillMichaels.com. TheBillMichaels@gmail.com, I should say. And then don't forget, we're also a television show, My24 TV in Milwaukee. My24 TV in Milwaukee. As we announced on Monday, the new home of the Green and Gold postgame show, the official home now of the Green and Gold postgame show, beginning in the age of 2026 in the Packers season, after every Packers home game, will be Home Field Pub and Social, the restaurant and Top Golf right there inside Titletown. We are so honored to be there. So glad that we're going to be a part of this, that you're going to be a part of it. You can come by and say hello to us before, after games, all that kind of good stuff, and that's where the show is going to be. But that's where the Green and Gold postgame show is going to emanate live from after every Packers home game. We're going to kick things off this year, I believe. Now, we're finalizing it, but we're going to kick things off. Yeah, I think we might be up there doing a March Madness show. So, which always inspires me. This always makes me feel a little bit like it's springtime, you know? So, we're excited. That'll be the new home of the Green and Gold postgame show, but I think we're going to kick things off right around March Madness. So, look forward to be up in Green Bay doing a live broadcast from Home Field Pub and Social. So, we're really excited about doing all of that. The man that's been doing yeoman's work all season long, Grant Bills, joining us as well. Grant, I was listening to part of your show and the interview with Jesse, and a lot of anticipation for what has happened with the Wisconsin Badgers over the last couple of games specifically.
Yeah, a couple of big basketball games. So I, maybe did a little bit more than folks needed on that tonight. But also, we've been doing the same Matt LaFleur thing for not just this week, but it feels like for 2 months. So take 20 minutes to do something else here and there.
It's funny. A buddy of mine texted me and said, well, that didn't take long. And that was the headline of his text. And I was in a meeting. I'm like, oh, my God. Just after we got off the air, did the story break? And it was that didn't take long. And then it was something to do with his wife and kids. I'm like, don't do that to me, man. Don't do that to me.
Not when we're all on LaFleur watch. It does
Right.
feel like maybe the next 20, like by the end of this week, don't you think by Friday,
yeah.
by the end of your show,
Yeah.
we'll know for sure something?
Well, here's the thing. That's usually when any kind of negative news will be broke is Friday at like 7:30 at night. So it's mentioned on the nightly news, but we don't really get our teeth into it until the following Monday. You know what I mean? It's kind of that down news cycle. Now, whether or not they do that, we'll have to wait and see. But anytime you've got something negative to break, that's usually when you break it. But if it lasts that long, my guess would be that Matt LaFleur is staying. I would figure that, Matt LaFleur is not only staying, but, they've kind of worked out who is and isn't going to be there anymore. And then, it's just a matter of, hey, this coach has been let go. This coach has been let go. Matt LaFleur is staying. And, that way you don't have the rush of people heading to their phones to dial up shows like this to start talking about it, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. So usually whenever you've got some kind of news that you don't want that heavy duty coverage until the following week, let things die down in the news cycle, that's when you kind of break news. So if it doesn't happen by Friday, by the time we get off the air, maybe it happens when you're on the air, or maybe it happens right after you get off the air. But I got to think over the next couple of days, we're going to hear something.
I would be okay with it being 6:02 Friday nights. Like, give me a weekend to stew on this, because I don't know that I need to be grappling with that on air in real time. I don't know. The fact that there's already 9 other openings, does that change your opinion on, look, I'm of the belief that if you decide your coach isn't right for you anymore, you make the move regardless.
Yeah.
But man, there's already 9 other openings. And I don't know if there are any slam dunk hires.
The only
Maybe
thing
it does play a little bit of a
The
role.
only thing that's going on right now is one of two things. Either they're talking about the contract, but they're also talking about coaches, or they're shopping Matt LaFleur behind closed doors through backdoor channels. One of the two. Because if they were going to fire him, they would have fired him already. He'd have been out the door. So that. So my guess is, and I've said it all along, that probably 70, 80% of me says he's coming back. And they're right now talking about the coaching staff, about the changes that are going to be made on the coaching staff and what he thinks he should do, whether he's going to elevate, look from outside, whatever. And that to me right now is probably what the discussions are going on behind 1265.
I guess all that makes sense.
Yeah. Because if they were going to let him go, they would have done it. He would have been out there already.
I think they're probably, the contract is a hang up too. It's really unfortunate. The Packers are in a tough spot. It's not just keep or fire. It's fire or commit to 3 or 4 years, probably $10 million per year or more guaranteed. When the Packers brass in the back of their mind, it's like, well, we'd love one more year, but wouldn't you love the ability to reevaluate next year after seeing Matt LaFleur with a healthy Micah Parsons and Devontae Wyatt and Tucker Kraft?
If Harbaugh is asking for $20 million plus control, now he's got 18 years as a head coach, and he's got a Super Bowl in his back pocket. But if he's looking for that, you can't look for that. So you start there and work backwards. So is LaFleur a $15 million a year guy? And just keep it the same as far as the structure goes within the organization? And if he doesn't have say, do you ask for more money? So, or is he saying, hey, I'll take 12 to 13 to stay, but I want to keep this guy and that guy? Or they're saying, hey, here's the pot of money for coaches. This is what it is. So whatever you take is what we can't afford to pay other guys. So, that could be it too. I don't know, but I got to think that somewhere along the lines, the truth is right in there. But if they were going to let him go, they would have let him go already. So if we didn't see the black smoke come out of 1265 on Sunday afternoon, it wasn't going to happen. I kind of felt that all along. So
I think that's most likely true. I still am holding out a little bit of an idea that these two are so far apart on numbers and term that they just say, okay, well, this isn't going to work.
Right.
And I don't know how it works. Like if the Packers say, well, we're going to trade you, does Matt LaFleur then have the power to say, well, I'll just resign for a year? You know what I mean? Like, do the Packers have full authority to even do that? I don't know. We never see these coach trades very often, so I don't even know how the thing fully works. Yeah, if like I said, usually they traded, they got compensation for Holmgren. Seattle did. If I'm not mistaken. But that's because Holmgren wanted to go there.
He wanted to go
the
there,
control.
yes. So, but they still, he had a year left on his deal. I can't remember when they moved. Who was the other coach that got traded? recently? I can't think.
Well, Sean Payton got traded.
Yes. Sean Payton, that's right. They gave up compensation. They gave up a first-round draft choice for Sean Payton. So my guess is that if that's but Sean Payton, Super Bowl in his back pocket, very successful run in New Orleans until it went crashing down because of Bountygate. But they gave up quite a bit to get him. And remember, they gave up quite a bit to get him. They gave up some draft choices for Russell Wilson.
A first and a second.
Yeah.
But then New Orleans got a third. But so still pretty significant.
Right. So, and then they gave up a bunch to get Russell Wilson. And you think about the reconstruction of that team without the first and second round draft choices that they did not have over a period of time and the way they built it, man, that's some turnaround. That might be one of the better turnarounds in the history of turnarounds. So, and then when Gruden went from Oakland to Tampa Bay, I think there was some compensation there as well. So, yeah, I mean, Matt LaFleur would fetch some draft choices. I don't doubt that. So, but that's if indeed they end up doing that. I still think that we're looking for the white paper smoke to come out, and there's going to be an announcement that Matt is staying. Hafley's going to probably go to another team, and then there's going to be 3 or 4 coaches that probably will not be back, or maybe 2 that won't be back with the Packers organization, and then they'll start to hunt for those particular guys. So we'll wait and see. But
what kind of calls do you think you're going to get on your show when it's announced Matt LaFleur has been extended? Can you imagine?
I thought about asking that today. Like, let's just say that during the show it breaks and we get word that Matt LaFleur has signed a 3-year deal. So basically he's got 4 years left in Green Bay. He signed a 3-year deal at $15 million a year. What would the reaction be? And I think you and I both know that there would be probably the very loud outrage of people that already want him gone would be screaming. The ones that will go, okay, we'll give him the opportunity, you're probably going to be somewhat silent or minimal. And those that are completely okay with it aren't going to call. So my assumption is that it would be a loud screaming going on via the airwaves, and then a lot of wait and see what happens from that. Like I said, if they re-sign him, I'm going to support everything it is Green Bay. I want him to do well. I want to see them win a championship. I want to see him succeed. I would love to see this whole thing run it back and have a lot of success and say, see, thanks for sticking with us. And that'd be great. But we're also going to be the 1,000-pound gorilla if we see wash, rinse, repeat. So let's do this. We'll break. We'll come back. When we do, we'll be joined in studio. Our guy, Mike Clemens, is on hand. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Huddle coming up right after this.
Oh, yeah. This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
This portion of the Huddle brought to you by Home Field Pub and Social, the official home of the Green and Gold postgame show in Titletown, right across the street from Lambeau Field. If you're heading up there, man, that's a great place to go. Restaurant, Top Golf, a lot of different simulators and such. You can even throw some passes in there, which is really kind of cool. Really good food, big burgers, but more so than anything, and the new official home of the Green and Gold postgame show, 1025 Lombardi Avenue, right inside Titletown. There you go, right inside Titletown. All right, joining me here in studio is our guy, Mike Clemens, who is here. And Michael, how the hell you doing, man?
Good. You're probably getting these. This is Holly. We went to school together. She texted me this afternoon, "Hi, new coach?"
Yeah.
And I said, no. I gave her my answer. And she said, okay. Well, I rely on you. So much fake news.
Right.
Then about an hour later, posts say he's gone.
Right.
And I said, yeah, well, send me a link. I said, I'm driving to the show right now.
Right.
But I, gave her my story, what I know. And she goes, well, it's just Facebook stuff.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, but put down the social media.
Yeah.
So I will tell Holly the same thing that I'll tell our listeners. ESPN, NFL Network, or yours truly getting a text on this phone from 920
area code, yeah,
which has happened about 4 or 5 times in the last 20 years on something like that.
Right.
And we'll be good. And that's how that's until you hear from one of those three.
Don't believe it.
Yeah, stay off the Reddit, man.
Yeah.
Stay off the Reddit.
I saw one of the what I call the garbage sites that gives you nothing but click. Put it this way. If they put up a story and then there's no story to it when you click on it, it's crap. So I saw one earlier today. A buddy of mine said, oh, my God, I can't believe it. And I went to it and I'm like, no, that's one of those garbage clickbait sites. And it said Matt LaFleur let go. They've
exploded in the last year or two.
Yeah.
It started last summer.
And they've got followers. That's what's the most amazing thing.
It started for me last summer when it said something like, I'll just throw a name out, like Green and Gold Report or something like that. It sounds legit.
Right.
Or it sounds like, some of these bloggers that have been at it for a long time.
Yeah.
That, are accurate, like Zach and Aaron and some of the things that those guys have put together over the years. But, you start digging into it and it's like, from Panama or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
From overseas or something.
Yeah.
So the first one I saw was last summer, and I had just spent the day with Jordan Love, not far from here at University School at his youth football camp. Spent the whole afternoon with him.
Right.
600 kids. He's throwing footballs and everything. And it said, Jordan Love donates $1 million to some cause. I'm like, oh, wow. And then at first I felt a little let down.
Right.
I felt let down.
Like he didn't tell you.
Yeah. Like I was right there, dude. You know what? And then I started digging around and I realized it's just this kind of AI BS.
Right.
And there's a whole lot of other words I can use about it.
Right.
And when you talk to the team about it, they roll their eyes and go, do you know how many people we could hire to just put out those cockroaches?
Right.
And we'd still never be able to keep up.
Right.
And that's why now, over, let's see, 2009, I thought is when sports and Twitter, combined.
Right.
When Charlie Villanueva from the Milwaukee Bucks tweeted out his feelings and how the game was going at halftime.
Yeah, right.
And that's when it was January of 2009. And I went, game changer.
Right.
Game changer.
Yeah.
So as long as we've been doing that, now it's getting to the next degree. And then plus the creepy things that have happened the last year with Patrick Mahomes and Bobby Portis and on down, having their homes broken into while they're playing in games.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, Travis Kelce.
On and on and on.
They had some, Matthew Stafford, I think.
It's not hard to get the message through now to the 22 to 32-year-old players.
Right.
Stay off of this thing, man.
Right.
And tell your family and friends, until you hear it from me, stop texting Clemens and say, is this true? Right. Because it's gone from Jordan Love donates $1 million, a nice positive piece, which got 10,000 likes in a couple of hours, to Jordan is having marital troubles with Ronica.
Right. I did see that too. I did see that one too. And the other one that was...
By the way, she's expecting everything exactly fine.
Yeah. I've seen 3 or 4 times that Donald Driver's been inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I've seen Jordy Nelson's into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, I've seen all of these, and it's like you don't even understand when the announcements come through. It's just like, oh my God.
Listen, there was a time when the major social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter and others felt responsible, just like a newspaper, for misinformation. As a matter of fact, they kicked one guy off that was running for president, right?
Right.
Then they held congressional hearings and they said, whoa, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
You should not be editors like that. This should be free and open.
Right.
And they thought, we don't want the government coming down on us. You bet. We'll take all the filters off.
Yeah.
That's opened the door to this.
Yep.
And now we're in a thing. I mean, it's kind of like college sports.
We're in the portal.
Yeah.
We're in the portal.
We're in the portal of journalism right now.
Yeah.
So these weirdos in their mother's basement, or even probably more organized than that.
Right.
They come up with this stuff. They design it. They fix pictures. If they get 1 million views and it gets shared, automatically they start getting checks for ad revenue.
Yeah. They get money for that. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Are you surprised we don't have an answer yet?
No. And that's because from everything I picked up in the last 2 or 3 weeks, tone, a couple of nudges and that type of thing, I think that they lose the game. Ed Policy, according to Matt LaFleur, talks a little bit to his coach. And I would think if you're trying to do the best thing you can for the Green Bay Packers, that is, you've assessed the strengths of Matt LaFleur. You've got concern about certain weaknesses.
Right.
And if I were Ed Policy, I would say, Matt, you go talk to your players. You go talk to your coaches. You go talk to yourself. And come to me Thursday or Friday and tell me, where do you go from here?
Right.
And then I'll make my decision.
I would think, and I was telling Grant this, that if they were going to fire him, they would have just fired him. That would have been done.
If before the Bears game, you pretty much were 90% in on that, this would have happened Monday.
Right. Even if you thought after that game, I don't want this anymore, you would have made your move. Unless you go back channels and you're trying to, make a trade like some have suggested. Like Rob Reichel was on with us today, and Rob wrote a good piece on.
Did you see that?
I did.
The history of trades for coaches, including through here as well. So
right.
Yeah, no, and just in the top of my mind when people were talking about, well, maybe LaFleur would go down and join now John Eric Sullivan with the Miami Dolphins,
right?
And then they'll go get themselves a quarterback, and what LaFleur would get is a fresh start, a chance for 3 or 4 years to rebuild a franchise,
right?
All those kinds of things, and a new voice, etc. But to me, I started thinking, when has that worked? Well, to me, the best example in the last 25, 30 years is Tony Dungy, defensive back for the Steelers, works his way up as a secondary coach, head coach of the Buccaneers. Always contenders, never got to the next level.
Right.
Sort of like what's happened the last 7 years in Green Bay under Matt LaFleur.
Right.
So they cut him. They bring in a hard-nosed John Gruden, and he takes Brad Johnson in a tougher defense to the next level, and they win a Super Bowl over his old team,
right?
The Raiders, right?
Yep.
Tony Dungy goes to Indianapolis, but Bill Polian is the key there in terms of the general manager, and he gets those pieces to finally get the thing built around Peyton Manning, and they go and win a Super Bowl against Lovie Smith and the Chicago Bears down in the rain in Miami. So it worked out for both franchises, right?
Right.
It worked out for both franchises. But I don't see that. I don't see that right now. I just don't see that.
The other one that became more feasible was he's got a good relationship with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan just became the president of football operations under
the Atlanta Falcons. And Arthur Blank. Listen,
and I thought, well, maybe that might be a possibility too. With a good young quarterback and Michael Penix Jr. and they've got all the talent down there. They just need to kind of rope in their quarterback.
And the buzz at CBS was, for Matt Ryan's couple of years there, 2-3 years, organized, smart guy, sharp guy. And they, Arthur Blank is now thinking if John Elway could do it for the Broncos.
Right.
And, he's president. So it's not day-to-day football operations. It's the big picture. It's the PR thing.
Right.
It's trying to sell season tickets to the Atlanta crowd. When you go into Georgia, it's still this way. That Georgia Tech, they take pages 1 through 3 of the paper. You got to go down to 6 or 7 to find the Falcons. Right. And even when they were good and Matt Ryan was their quarterback, Yeah. And Jones was their wide receiver. They were page 7 or 8.
Yeah. And the University of Georgia was probably the first 3 pages with Georgia Tech in a corner of page 3.
Yeah. I mean, that's just it's been that way since that team came in as a franchise, I think in 1966. Right. Georgia is a huge football state, but it's about the universities and then the high schools. And then, we got the Falcons too.
So I just said,
so Matt Ryan has to change that image and continue to build on it. Right.
Right.
And then Arthur Blank's a pretty smart, businessman in that way. So I never understood the Raheem Morris hire, quite frankly. I never did. And LaFleur is very high on him, but fine defensive coordinator. I don't see where that guy is in terms of.
Well, some people they take a chance on, and Raheem Morris very highly acclaimed at the time, much like Flores is now, who could get another opportunity at some point once this whole lawsuit thing goes away from the NFL. But we'll see. But again, you look at different coaches that have been great coordinators, and then they got the head coaching job, and then they weren't, and they went back to being coordinators, and they were still really, really good.
But Matt LaFleur was that quarterback coach.
Josh McDaniel, one of those guys.
Yeah, when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, and then let it slip away to the Patriots there in the fourth quarter, and that was the Mall of America game that we covered. And you can make the minute that Matt Ryan got that job on Sunday, I thought, now wait a minute,
right?
LaFleur might say, hey, if I did need a fresh start, Flowery Branch and the office is there, not a bad setup. And I depend on Matt on getting me a good GM. I could turn that thing around,
right? And
we'll get a higher draft pick. I'll bring in a new young quarterback. I'll develop him. I'll get us ready.
Let's do this.
Kirk, and he's a huge fan of Kirk Cousins.
And Kirk is still there. So let's do this. We'll step out. We'll take a quick break. We'll get more into some Packers football. What went so horribly wrong, and now moving forward. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Huddle coming up next.
Let we go. This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Bill Michaels Huddle. We are on the air this Wednesday night here in studio. Joining me, our guy on the ground, the Bill Michaels Show, Packers reporter, our guy, Mike Clemens here. So let's go back to last Saturday night. I know we don't necessarily want to, but let's go back to it. Tremendous first half. And, whether it was Kirk Herbstreit or just our own eyes, he kept talking about the play designs and things that they were drawing up and how they were getting guys open and scheming things and, Jordan Love and being accurate. And it went from all of that and the praise and being up 21-3 at half to just a train wreck of a second half, running everything out of shotgun, no time to throw the ball. a defense that was beginning to get shredded, special teams that again gave up big comebacks or big returns, had misses through McManus. It was just everything that could go wrong went wrong in that ball game.
Much respect for Kirk Herbstreit, who's got to do bowl games 2 nights before.
Yeah.
With 90 players on the roster. I don't know how he keeps all that straight. Well, he's got some producers that help him, right, and map it out.
He's a very smart dude, though. I will say that.
But I went through the TV version of that. By the way, 34 million viewers watched that on Amazon Prime, which now makes that the highest streamed football game ever.
Yeah.
Saturday night between the Bears and the Packers. But Kirk was wrong about the Packers' offensive line and blocking in the first half. Now, even though that Josh Jacobs, thanks to that one 13-yard run that he had about 45, 46 yards rushing the first half, which is pretty good. About
49 yards rushing in the first half.
Yeah, like on a dozen carries or so. Yeah. It wasn't enough for me. I mean, there's so many 1 and 2 yard plays, and I don't know where the guys. There's no hole for him.
Right.
And the breakdown, and what's amazing too is how the Bears did this. And then when TJ Edwards leaves, was that a broken fibula? He's done, right?
He's down.
But then Andrew Billings, that dude was a problem until he had to leave the game.
Right.
340 pounds. So you're watching Sean Ryan, you're watching Aaron Banks. Aaron Banks, man, that's a disappointment.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the money you paid for left guard.
Considering Anthony Belton's been outplaying him.
A year ago at this time, Bill, we were talking about that you didn't have a chance against that Eagles defense because why? The offensive line.
Right.
And you came up with this master plan like, okay, we're going to move on from Josh Myers. We're going to take Elton Jenkins, and he can retire as a center for the Green Bay Packers for the next 3 or 4 years. We'll spend big money on this left guard. We really love what Zach Tom has done. Tom at right tackle will play them. You've had injuries with those guys. Zach Tom, we now know, according to the Bill Huber on Sports Illustrated article, this is more than just a little, snip that he's got going on.
Right.
This is
patella tendon.
This is a 6-month deal, and it's 50-50 if you can come back 100% from that.
Right.
And play right tackle. You might have to move him to center.
And Rasheed Walker's going to be gone.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Elton Jenkins, you're not going to bring back.
So for me, in the first half, I thought Rasheed Walker was doing okay holding down the fort. But how many times in the first half have they got 88, Luke Musgrave, over there against Austin Booker? Booker is a problem.
He is eating him
big,
up.
He is fast,
and
he's a pain. And he's in that backfield all night long. And I don't know why you've got 88 Luke Musgrave who cannot block on that guy. And it's only until you got Rasheed Walker on him that you started getting some blocks on that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, here's where they missed Tucker Kraft.
And Rasheed Walker didn't have the best of games either.
Here's where you're missing qualified blocking tight ends.
Right.
In that instance. But in the meantime, LaFleur's game plan was so great and clever with the picks and, the 3 men to one side and all the stuff that he's doing. And the ball's coming out of Jordan Love's arm fast.
Right.
Later in
which
the game,
negated the rush in Booker.
Late at the end of the game, in terms of the passing game, Love kept on trying to take shots down the sideline, like the one where Jaden Reed dropped, right?
Yeah, right.
Like the great catch that Romeo Doubs made you on the left side. But everything was on the sidelines, on the red line, on the numbers. But there was plenty of opportunities where, like, hey, this is now the game. The season is on the line. Start taking shots over the middle.
Right.
Run a crosser.
Right.
Run somebody underneath. Send those guys deep. Run just one guy. And look at Monungai made a key reception for Caleb Williams over the middle as your running back. Yeah. Why aren't you using number 8?
Exactly.
Why aren't you using Josh Jacobs like that?
Right. They were keeping him in as much as they could to chip block.
Why?
Just trying to chip block. I look, Mike.
You got him on kick return,
right? You and I are on the same page. I don't know why they did what they did. It was like they were a deer in the headlight. I have no idea why they just kind of threw out a good portion of the playbook.
I don't have much of a problem with what Jordan Love did in that game. I think his accuracy was pretty much there. I think he was under far more pressure than what was talked about on the air. You know what I would have liked to see from Jordan Love? On when the secondary was dropped back and then they were in dime there and still being able to get pressure with 3 or 4. I think Jordan Love should have run for it on a couple of third downs.
Different ones. Yeah, I agree. We talked about that.
Instead of taking those shots downfield and, out of sync.
And then the one he had,
3 yards.
he could have ran for a first down. He threw it away and then just decided to punt. I don't understand it. I don't know if they're teaching him don't run, don't get hurt, or if he just doesn't want to.
I'm sure they are.
But we saw Drake May, Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams all basically say, I will not be denied. I'll do anything and everything I can to move the sticks. Jordan Love was content in throwing the ball away and punting.
You start out the game, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Then you miss the field goal.
Right.
Punt, punt, punt to end the third quarter. Then you've got Matthew Golden with the Eagle formation covering up the tight end.
Cover the tight end.
Which makes you have to punt again. Punt, 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 punt. You got Loveland, the tight end for the Bears. Yeah. Outstanding, man. And against Quay in the red zone and open down there. Sean Ryan leaves the game with a minute left with a left knee injury. Did not look good.
Right.
And
they'd already lost Jacob Monk on the first play of the game in kickoff coverage.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Lacita Smith, who's a third stringer, pretty much a practice squad guy, is there. And then he's got the one muffed snap there at this crucial time. Of the game. There is a moment there where you're just saying there's got to be a way that LaFleur can just pump the brakes and walk out into the field and talk to Love and settle down. And here's the other thing. When you watch that thing like a third time, like I did last night, why not just run your 2-minute?
Yeah.
They have one of the best 2-minute routines of all time. No huddle, 2-minute. They were calling plays, Bill.
I know. And there was a lot of people that talked about the clock management towards the end of that ball game as well.
Just run your 2-minute.
Yeah. Get yourself into a rhythm. Do something.
Yeah.
Do something. I agree with you.
They didn't run their no huddle 2-minute.
It's like, I keep saying, it's like you just froze up. It's like, what are you doing? Mike, you and I can sit here and agree on everything and we can drink beer and get hammered and we'll both still not be able to figure out what the hell they were doing and why they were doing it. Why there was nothing else done. And the whole thing at the end of the game saying, well, they brought pressure and we didn't block down. We didn't block out to get them. Give them credit. It's unfortunate. Those words ring in my head. And I just sit here and shake my head going, you can't just say give them credit. There's no counter to that. And that's the most disappointing thing about it.
It got to the point where Neiman, the backup linebacker, had been on IR. He's out there covering Colston Loveland,
right?
For what turned into be a touchdown pass down the left. I mean, talk about getting out schemed by Ben Johnson.
Yeah,
finding that matchup,
right?
Because you've lost Edgerrin Cooper, huge loss in that game,
right?
Hey, by the way, that was some sort of pile up. There was a running play in the middle, and he gets caught up in the trash on the left-hand side of the Bears offensive line. There's a big pile of guys, and I can't see what happened except you see him bail out like, oh God, something with a left ankle injury and go down and lost that. But he was having a tremendous game. He got his hand out, blocked a pass, had 8 tackles, all over.
He was everywhere. Let's do this. We'll take a break. Mike Clemens here in studio joining us for the Huddle. Don't forget our new home for the Green and Gold postgame show in Titletown. Home field pub and social restaurant, Top Golf, all kinds of good stuff. 1025 Lombardi Avenue, again, inside Titletown, right across the street from Lambeau Field. We are excited to be a part of that this year, this upcoming season, but more so than anything, welcome aboard as a big-time sponsor of the Bill Michaels Show and the Huddle. Stay tuned. We got more after this.
This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome in. Bill Michaels Huddle. We are on the air here in studio. Graham Bill's producing, and Mike Clemens joining us here in studio. And so, and we're actually gonna keep you through into the next hour.
Sure.
Just so you know. So the game culminates.
Dude, I woke up this morning and I pretty much had packed last night.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm good because, I'm from the Milwaukee area, but, during football, I'm in Green Bay for 7 months or so.
Right.
I've been home back in Milwaukee maybe 4 or 5 nights, maybe one night a month or so in between plane trips and everything.
Right.
And I was about to get on the expressway. Now, I remember one other thing. And the next thing I know, I'm pulling up to the Hudson Center like, there's no practice today, dummy. It's over. It's over.
Right.
And I don't know. I've been doing this, for over 20 years. But today of all times, I really feel what the players and the coaches are going for.
Yeah.
Going through. And it's just like, we're supposed to have practice.
Yeah.
And then we got a team meeting, and then we're going to go for some film, and then we're going to have lunch, and we're going to talk to those knuckleheads from the media. And then, we're going to have afternoon set,
Right.
No, there's no game.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
We are done.
It crashed down, and it was just like it made it worse because they obviously lost to the Bears, but it just crashed down, and you're like, what happened? And so as we sit here today, now they begin to move on, and we can sit here and talk about who should or shouldn't be back, but the consistency all season, Mike, and maybe we get into this after the top of the hour because we only got about 7 minutes here. But the consistency of things all season, consistency was they were inconsistent. They couldn't play 4 full quarters. How many times last year did they use the term complementary football? It didn't happen a lot this year.
You were positive about look, I think the Packers can do this against the
I
Bears,
was.
and gave several reasons why. And overall, when you line up the roster, even though you've lost Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft and Devontae Wyatt on your defensive line, it's like, no. And by the end of the week, most of the national experts were right there with you, and you weren't being a homer about it. But for me, and as I said to you on my Friday report, but Bill, here's the other side. I'm not feeling it.
Right.
And it's not like they're scared or say, but I told Grant this, first of all, it partly is because when you haven't given out game balls in a month, that lack of confidence starts to creep in.
Right.
Those concerns, that pessimism has got to creep in, and things that are said about, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. And then I asked that question in the press conference of LaFleur, like, tell me what you think of that Bears team that got in that shootout with Shanahan and that been to the Super Bowl 49ers team and how they responded. And they went toe-to-toe, those guys, to 42-38 or whatever the final score was. It was whoever got the ball last. You see that possibly being a shootout. And he played it kind of cool. After the fact, when we talked about him Sunday night, that's all I talked about. Finish.
Right.
These guys won't quit. And here they put 25 points on you in the fourth quarter. They did exactly what was your greatest fear. And I think from the coach on down, you could see the panic in their faces. But, there's little things. I didn't say this. I'll tell you now. There was a player in that locker room that told a friend of mine, like probably after the Ravens game, and the Ravens was, just got your butts kicked.
That was a debacle.
These dudes just came in and, come on.
Right.
You people were escorting Derrick Henry to the end zone 4 times. What's going on? And the one player said, what do you think's going to happen? So they knew that they had the Vikings. They knew that they had clinched. They'd found out Thursday before the Ravens game, they clinched.
They were the 7th.
We're going in.
Yeah.
We're going in. Right. The response from this player was, well, we're going to lose the next one. We'll probably lose the next one after that. And then we're going home.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a guy that's tired, and
disgruntled
and got aches and pains, et cetera. But it was that you hear little things like that every once in a while, and it sends a chill down your back like, oh, this is not good. This is not good.
Right.
There's the confidence is in there, like, oh, we're going to turn this around and we're going to make a run for it.
Yeah.
There
was no RELAX coming out of that locker room.
No,
nothing. Quay Walker, and I want to make sure we got time. But Quay Walker had some interesting things to say.
Yes.
And basically said, we didn't finish. This team doesn't finish. They haven't finished even before I got here.
When I was in Georgia watching the Packers on TV, they didn't finish back then. I watched Aaron Rodgers lose to the Buccaneers at home, in what could have been, should have been an MVP season for him, and Tom Brady throw 3 interceptions and still figure out a way to beat y'all.
What did you make of that when he said it?
That the reason he doesn't talk to us more often is because he has no filter.
Yeah. But I thought what he said was pretty weighted. I mean, it hit.
Yeah.
It hit like a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And when you think about a guy like Quay Walker, he knows what it takes to finish. So he's like, I get it. We're out here killing ourselves, and there's people that don't finish. I don't know if he's pointing the finger at other guys around him, if he's pointing the finger at the offense, if he's pointing the finger at the coaching, special teams, whatever.
I think he's just pointing to some dark cloud that hangs in the middle over the G in the big locker room. It's just
the team doesn't know how to finish.
They got to figure out a way how to exercise that ghost.
Yeah. Which, 1 or 2, that's what I said, because throughout the season, you'd see them win a game or two, and you go, okay, like the defense would get a couple of wins. They got some stops. They won a couple of ball games. Okay, here you go. The big stop with Keyshawn Nixon getting the interception on Caleb Williams. Defense, they were the one that finished that game. They closed it off. They had their backs against the wall. Kudos to them. They did their job. But there was never consistency, and you never all season long felt safe with this team, even when they were in the lead midway through a fourth quarter.
And I know it's just words, But, man, I'll tell you, we got 20 minutes with Micah Parsons and another 20 or so with Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
Just being around those guys and their competitive aura makes all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about, is there kind of a maturity in this team missing? That even young Evan Williams at the end of his second season, back there with Xavier McKinney, Xavier McKinney's an old soul. He's on the path to the Hall of Fame. He's such a sharp, hardworking guy. But it's like when you get in these pressure situations, how can you break? Why can't you come through in the clutch? And that's a certain level of maturity as a competitor. And when you lose guys like Micah and Tucker on both sides of the ball, you lose that guy in your huddle that says, we're going to do this. Settle down. We can do this.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Right.
It's going to be okay.
Mark Schofield today had a great point. He said, when Jordan Love stands in the huddle and you're coming to the end of a ball game and you need the drives, he said, look, are all 10 eyes on him? Or guys are looking at the ground, looking at the opponent, looking around and just listening? Are they looking you in the eye going, we've got this, let's go? And that was a great point. And I don't know, because he doesn't exude that aura to me. He's very casual, like, okay,
Well, I mean, you can't rattle him. But LaFleur said this a year or two ago. We need him to be more of a vocal guy.
He needs to be the leader. Yeah, no doubt. We got an hour down. We got another hour yet to go. Don't go anywhere. We're going to keep Mike for a while. Stay tuned. We got another hour of the Bill Michaels Huddle coming up right after this.
This is the Wisconsin Sports Zone Update.
Well, Wisconsin still on a high from last night after getting a John Blackwell three-pointer at the buzzer to beat Minnesota. It was Wisconsin's 10th straight win over the Gophers, and it was their third straight win overall this year. It included 21 points from Minnesota native Braden Carrington, who played for the Gophers for 2 years and got booed every time he touched the ball.
Last night, I probably had never been so anxious to play a game. Even like Saturday, I went into the game like, oh, it's another basketball game. This one, for whatever reason, just had me up all night, and obviously it went the right way, and happy for it.
Wisconsin's now beaten UCLA, number 2 Michigan, and Minnesota over its last 3 games. Coach Greg Gard admitted it's been a tough week.
Happy with the win, and we need a day off. We've had this has been a heck of a 3-game grind. So we'll get some rest tomorrow and then use the last 2 days of the week to prep for Saturday.
Badgers going to face Rutgers on Saturday at the Kohl Center. Turn to the Bucks. They got blown out last night by Minnesota at home. Crowd booed them. Giannis Antetokounmpo not pleased with it. Booed back at them. Milwaukee 17-23 on the year. Going to be in San Antonio tomorrow night to face the Spurs.
Some of America's bravest warriors are returning home wounded. Here's one of them.
My name is Norberto Lara. While I was on a combat patrol, a rocket propelled grenade took my arm off at the shoulder. I was discharged from the Army, and I've been working with the Wounded Warrior Project since 2007. They don't have to be severely wounded. A lot of guys have post-traumatic stress disorder. Being able to share your story kind of helps you wrap your mind around what did happen over there. My name is Norby, and yes, I do suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, but I'm okay.
Don't suffer in silence. Contact woundedwarriorproject.org.
Well, still wait and see for the Packers, and Coach Matt LaFleur reports earlier this week said the two sides were trying to work out something that would keep LaFleur as the head coach, but so far there's been no news on that front yet. And Wisconsin up to 27 additions from the transfer portal so far. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Are you ready for some football? He talks green and gold. Look at the 8. This This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels.
Hour number 2 of the Huddle, Wednesday night, almost midway through, if you can believe it. January 2026. It's the 14th. And we are here in studio. Mike Clemens joining me. Grant Bill's producing the program. Welcome into everybody that's paying attention to us. We always appreciate it when you're here. So thanks so much for being here, as always, and watching the program wherever you are. So, Mike, we were talking about some of the words that Quay Walker had to say about this team finishing. Obviously, one player in the locker room who basically said, we're going to lose the next one, meaning the Minnesota game. And then we'll lose the next one, and then we're going home. And there didn't seem, from your end, to be a big belief that this team, I thought they came out and played tenacious. They were flying to the football. The offense was clicking. You could see emotion. I thought, okay, this is, all the worries are out the window. And I was sitting there and I thought, okay, because you and I are texting and talking. And I said, first drive, got to do something. Okay, 3 and out. Okay,
You're talking about second half.
Second half. And then I said, okay, this drive, the second drive of the second half, got to do something. Because if you don't, you can feel the momentum starting to shift. And 3 and out. And I said, it's over. Right then and there, I said, it's done. They're not going to recover from this. We've seen this before. And with a team that has absolutely no fear and seems to play harder when they're behind and when they start to smell blood in the water, like they can come back and get you, the Packers aren't going to match that. And they didn't. And ultimately we sit here today and you're not going to Seattle this weekend. So we can kind of say we saw it coming. Now, I guess if you're going to evaluate this team as we start to look towards, the offseason and such, where does Goody go from here? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Important question. You've triggered my memory to the third quarter of this game Saturday night.
Okay.
Is that when Tyron Hopper got that interception after that bad throw to the left?
Mm-hmm.
That was in maybe the third quarter. Bears were 0-3 in the red zone leading up to that. Green Bay was up 21-6. I told you this Saturday night in the postgame show, and now after having a chance to watch the TV version and really slow it down, I'm telling you, the momentum change in that game and in that stadium of over 60,000, an absolute, and I confirmed it last night, was when the Packers, they're up 21-6, and they get a little cute in that second or third drive in the third quarter. It's like, let's dump one off to number 70.
Right.
To Kennard.
Yeah,
the tackle. Have a little fun here. And he gets the ball. He turns around. Here comes the big boy running down the line. And
punched it out.
It gets punched out from behind. And the ball goes bouncing out of bounds. But the Bears sideline was jumping up and down with that energy like we saw the last time we were down there at the start of the game. I mean, because at halftime, Bill, because before that game, you know how the people who work in the stadium are all family.
Right.
They go year after day. They look forward to working game days, whether they're in food service or, the ushers or running the elevators. And the buzz, they were so happy and excited. And look, we're in the playoffs and we got the Packers and we feel really good about our team and all that stuff. It was a morgue at halftime. All of the Chicago press, all of the workers, and the stadium was quiet.
Right.
They were taking off.
You could see when they were going into the locker room.
By the way, those cheese grater hats, I remember just 4 or 5 years ago, you might see 4 or 5 of those. There must have been 5,000 the other night. So congrats to whoever came up with the cheese graters hat sales, because
they got them in Detroit too now.
It's worked out for them. But the minute that happens, even though the Packers recovered the ball and continued with it, the crowd at Soldier Field picked up on that excitement from the sidelines, and it never let up.
Yeah.
For the rest of the game, the energy went and the confidence completely went to Chicago for the rest of the game.
Right.
Even if they had a couple of mistakes along the way, it was all Chicago the rest of the way. And those fans stayed in those seats because they wanted to see, and they got it.
They wanted to see history.
They wanted to see it, and they got it.
Yeah.
And they delivered. And I'm telling you, and that's why you hear LaFleur saying about and there's something to home field advantage.
Right.
I don't know what he's talking about when he says, you're on the road and communications are tough. And I don't know if he's alleging the radio's cut out or if it's just harder to operate, when you're the visiting team, et cetera. But he talked about, I asked him that question about substitution. What do you burned a timeout because they were substituting, taking off 3 defensive guys instead of 2, and they ended up having 10 men on the field. And now with ticking down the play clock to 3, 2, 1, he has to call a timeout so he doesn't get it,
delay a game penalty.
Delay a game or a too many men on the field penalty. So he's burning the timeout that he was going to need in the final minute of the game after the Bears scored to go ahead. I don't know. It's all those kinds of things.
It was
the next thing your question is Brian Gutekunst.
Yeah.
A year ago, we're talking to him and he says, it's funny. He says, you guys are going to say, well, what are you going to do to get past Philadelphia? That's what he was saying a year ago.
Right.
He said, of course, last year it was like, well, what are you going to do to get past the 49ers?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you got to just focus on what do we have to do, regardless. And I mean, my God, from worst to first, what are you going to do to beat the Bears next year?
Right.
But to me,
Bill, the Lions still have a good nucleus.
To me, last year it was, we got to beef up our offense. We've got a defensive line, our pass rush. We're going to improve our pass rush. And here we are a year later. I think he's got the same to-do list. I think he did not solve his problems on offensive line, regardless of the injury to Elton Jenkins. I don't think that was working either.
And I'd said this in the Cleveland game, because that's when Elton Jenkins went down. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think so.
I said after that game, if Elton,
I think it was later.
Maybe it was later than that.
But I know that was the game where Zach Tom had been injured, tried to play,
come back,
and then had to bail out
after like a play.
Yeah.
With
Myles Garrett on the other side of the
So
line.
I'd said whatever game it was that Elton went down, I said we've seen enough. Elton needs to go back to guard. Banks is not that good. I don't care how much you spent. You need to move him out. Put Sean Ryan, and then either go Jordan Morgan or Anthony Belton at the other guard, because you've got an all-pro guard. Put him in there. And then obviously he was injured and never came back. You still have the same problem because Banks is not it.
Did you see the Ravens offensive line and what they're doing to your defense with Derrick Henry in the backfield? But I mean, that's what we're talking about.
Yep.
And even though the Eagles have struggled and they fired their offensive coordinator.
Well, look at what the Bears did.
But yeah, exactly.
The Bears built an offensive line, picked up a couple of guys in the offseason, were able to protect the quarterback and be able to become one of the best running teams in football.
If you want to be Ed Policy, and if you really want to say, how did this happen? You could have said, in the world of anything you want to do, you saw what Ben Johnson was doing for 2 or 3 years in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
You could have made your run for him back then.
Right.
You could have you could have done a Kansas City Chiefs and surprised the world and trade up and got Caleb Williams as your quarterback. I mean,
think about how
anything can happen.
Think about how important the center is. Think about that. They had a great run game in Detroit last year. Ragnow retires, and they never were able to replace him. So much so that they were going to bring him back injured after retiring.
Excellent point.
You lose the same guy. You lose Kelsey a couple of years ago. They took him a while to replace him. Their offensive line was never the same in Philadelphia, even though they won last year. They did it with defense. Packers, you move on Josh Myers. You think Elton Jenkins is going to just kind of slide right in? They couldn't fix that problem. Sean Ryan did an admirable job, but still not a strong, staunch center. And you couldn't get a run game going.
In terms of draft, I'm every time I watch the Eagles and I watch Cooper DeJean get an interception and then talk to Tom Brady after the game,
right.
And I think you could have taken the kid from Iowa, but no, you were keeping your fingers crossed that Jair was going to come around and you're under obligation to him. And if him and Keyshawn and Carrington Valentine, we're good. Let's get ourselves a lineman.
Right.
And they're still swearing that, Jordan Morgan's going to come through. He can be the left tackle of the future. Really? I'm still not seeing it.
I don't see it either.
He couldn't play his rookie season because of injuries, and I've seen him get beat. He's not like what Bakhtiari or Zach Tom did, where you just plug these guys in and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, nobody can get around them.
I remember when they drafted Tauscher, he moved in. Clifton, he moved in. Balaga, he moved in.
Yes.
They just took over.
Yes.
This guy's not that guy.
No, not yet.
Not that guy. And you know, they don't have that big road grader up front. They
not
don't
his
have
fault
those
they
guys.
took him first round.
No, not at all. But this is what happens when you take a first rounder and they don't work out. Now, great that you had a left tackle that inexpensive for that long with Rasheed Walker. That's tremendous because he became your left tackle and you didn't have to pay him, $18 million a year. But now you're looking for another left tackle again because he's not the guy. And you're certainly not going to pay him a lot of money to stay after what you just saw. They need a guard. They need a center. They need a tackle. You need additional depth on the defensive front. I think you're pretty good at wide receiver. You'll probably find somebody later in the draft. Running back, we'll figure out if Marshawn Lloyd's ever going to be anything. Until he is, you can't count on him.
No.
And then you've got to fix some of the problems in your secondary.
Yeah. And then you got to make decisions of wide receiver like Romeo Dobbs.
Right.
And
Christian Watson too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I saw one estimate today that right now, the way it stands, they're 34 million in the red in terms of the salary cap.
Right.
So somebody's going to be moving. And they're still paying Kenny Clark.
Yeah, he gets, I think, $9 million this year.
They kicked his can down the road for 2 or 3 years, and they're still going to be paying him through next year.
Yeah. I think it's like $9 million. After that, though, there's nothing. They've got very minimal money out. So Kenny Clark's the one guy that's going to cost you about $9 million against the cap, I think.
If you don't think the Packers were serious about a Super Bowl this year, just take a look at the salary cap situation. And then, by the way, did you see what they gave Dallas for Micah Parsons?
Yeah.
This was supposed to be the year.
Yeah. Let's do this. We'll take a break and come back because I want to talk about the youth and the theory anyway, that coming back, because Rashawn Gary is another one. He's going to be $19 million against the cap. They're going to cut him loose and try to save some money there. But
dude had 34 snaps 2 games ago.
Yeah. And then what happened to Diggs? Why did Diggs only get 1 snap?
I don't know.
In that game the other night.
I
still can't figure that out.
No.
I went back and looked because people are saying, did he even play? I'm like, I know I saw him on the field at one point, and I went back, 1 snap.
1 snap.
1 snap. Brought him in, 1 snap. Let's do this. We're going to step out, take a quick break, come back. It's the Bill Michaels Huddle on a Wednesday night. Stay tuned. We got more right after this.
Oh, yeah. This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Bill Michaels Huddle, we're back. Glad that you're with us on this Wednesday, the 14th of January. I can't believe we're already 14 days into January, to be perfectly honest with you. And the Green Bay Packers are going to be home this weekend. The offseason came a little bit too soon for them. Mike Clemens joining us here in studio. And Mike, we're sitting here talking about the coaching searches that are going on right now. There's 9 teams. And which, by the way, 17 teams in the last 2 years will have changed their head coaches. 17 teams.
Well, and this gets back to what Aaron Rodgers said after what probably is going to be his last game.
Yeah.
Unless some other team wants to pick him up, and he's leaving his option open. He wants to come in on his white horse and be the next Phil Rivers.
I was just going to say, I can see him staying in shape until game 8. And some team that's in the playoffs loses a quarterback and they need him, and here he comes.
Malik Willis is gone.
Yeah.
Jordan Love has a season-ending injury.
I don't know if that would happen, but he certainly knows the playbook.
He knows the language.
Yeah, he knows how to get here.
Looking at the Bears injury list from today, and I don't see Caleb Williams on there, although he got kicked in the Achilles.
Yeah.
The other night by
left hobbling
Baron Sorrell. And it was unintentional.
Mm-hmm.
It just, these guys are running together, and his foot just happened to, swing that way.
Right.
And he was in some pain there for a while, but he's not on there. DJ Moore is on there with a knee. Dunze. What do you think about this Rams at Chicago Bears matchup? I mean, I heard some Nashville guys say, the Rams will put a 50 burger up on them. Like, come on.
Well, it's going to be 12 degrees.
Could be 12 degrees, and you don't have TJ Edwards at linebacker.
Nope.
But, he was out for most of the year anyway.
I think the
Blackwell
Rams
is hurt. I was playing hurt the other night.
The Rams are a more complete team than what the Packers are. The Rams were considered one of the best teams in the NFC.
Than the Bears, you're saying.
Well, then the Packers were, and the Packers were able to go in and actually score in the first half of this game. Yeah. I think the reason people think that is because the Rams come in with a better defense, and their offense is much more tuned. The only difference is, like you said, they're a Southern California team, West Coast over to the, Chicago, where it's going to be 18 degrees during the day for the high, probably at that time at night, 12 degrees, wind chill around 0.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to have something to do with it. But they got Devontae Adams back, who is gold inside the 20.
Yeah.
He's your pass catcher. Puka Nacua is fantastic. Stafford is still a field general, and they've got an offensive line that can protect him. So if you give him time, you can pass on this defense. We all know that. We've seen it. So you figure with their offense, more seasoned receivers, the ability to run the football, better offensive line, a defense that's more staunch than what Green Bay had to play with. You're kind of thinking, if they get up 21-0, it's not going to, or 21-3, it's not going to be a come from behind game. They're going to end up putting 35-42 on them and maybe give up another 10 points to 14 points in the second half. So that's the reason I think you can kind of look at it and go, I can see them. And here's the other thing, and I was listening this morning with the handshake that wasn't, or the disrespect and the F the Packers and everything. McVay is, remember, him and LaFleur are tight.
Right.
If he has a chance to run it up and beat the absolute crap out of Ben Johnson, I think he's going to do it.
That for his buddy that was at his wedding.
Right. That's exactly right.
Yeah. And then let's see. You have 49ers. George Kittle lost with an Achilles. Oh,
and you saw that. Did you see him sitting on the table with his, is it wife or girlfriend or something? Where he's sitting on the picture of him on the trainer's table, and you look at his ankle, and then right behind his ankle, it looks like somebody just stuffed a big ball of taffy in his skin, where the Achilles just rolled up. Yeah.
God.
Oh my God, it's such a horrific picture.
Ugh.
Such a horrific picture.
It's got to be so painful.
The way I can explain it is when it snaps, it's like when you pull on a shade and you let it go and it goes.
Yeah.
It snaps up. That's what the Achilles does.
Okay. Did you salt the sidewalks outside the studios?
I did.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah, I did before you got here.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did tell you to be careful because if you go down.
So the 49ers, though, Kittle gone, but they're talking about Fred Warner running around out there, coming back at linebacker. That would be interesting to see. And then it's the Seahawks. And has anybody explained to me now why that quarterback is not back in Minnesota and how much the difference that Sam Darnold would have made?
2 letters, 1 word. J.J. McCarthy.
Well,
they had all the belief in the world in him.
What has Paul Allen told you about that? Have you talked to him about that?
We've texted privately, and to put it in I got to do with the Cliff Notes version and not Paul's version, that they really believed that he was going to be the guy. And McCarthy. Yeah. And that was a Kevin O'Connell call.
Well, year 2 of the injuries has not helped in his development, to be sure, but he's got a long ways to go. And here you got Justin Jefferson in the prime of his career, and Harrison Smith in the last year of his career.
Right.
And those kinds of guys. And man, that just looks like a boneheaded decision.
Terrible decision. And it was Kevin O'Connell who believed that.
And now your defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, he's got another head coaching position interview tomorrow morning. Right. So he's probably gone.
Yeah. Speaking of that,
talking about losing the window.
So 9 teams, a lot of names out there. I don't know if Flores gets a job because Flores still has the lawsuit against the NFL going on right now. In the
Dolphins. Things did not end well with the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. So I don't know if he gets a job. I think he's, I don't want to say he's a Rooney Rule guy, but
it's in your mind.
It's in your mind. So I don't know if he gets a job. What do you think Hafley? Because he's going up against a guy like Raheem Morris. He's going up against offensive-minded guys, a field general in Harbaugh. I mean, all these guys are on the open market.
Chris Shula, the grandson of Don Shula, who's the defensive
maybe that skipped a generation because Dave Shula never turned out to be too much.
Sir. No, not so much. Well, he was busy cooking steaks. But anyway, I don't know about you. I don't think that Jeff Hafley is a lock at getting one of these head coaching jobs. I know he's had like 5 different interviews.
Right.
To me, let's not forget, man, if you're an owner or a GM of one of these teams, this is a great time to find out about the opposition, to see what guys are talking about, to watch their presentation, because these guys are supposed to come and say, here, when I scout your team, here's the problems I see. You get great consulting for free during these interviews.
And
you'd be a moron not to interview 8 or 9 of these guys and have them tell you what these guys
philosophically what they
think about your team.
Yeah. And then the other name that's being floated around out there, kind of he's the Ben Johnson flavor of the year this year, is Clint Kubiak.
Yes.
The offensive coordinator over there in Seattle who is still playing.
Yeah. Gary's. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another name that's out there other than Stefanski. And, you still have Dable and you have all those guys that are out there, whether they're offensive or defensive coordinators and such, those guys are all floating around.
A lot of offensive coordinator jobs.
I don't think Callahan gets a job.
No.
After he got fired in Tennessee.
Yeah. A lot of offensive coordinator jobs are open today.
Right.
And I don't know, to me, what's LaFleur going to say? Is he going to need a new offensive line coach?
Is Butkus gone?
I don't know.
Somewhere along the way, whatever happened in that game on Saturday where he just said we didn't slide out, and I'm going back to that. I continuously do.
Yeah, we got a corner blitz, and we're not fanning out.
We can't figure it out.
How come that's like 101?
Why do we have our tight end on Booker who's eating them up?
Doesn't help that when your injured right tackle tells a couple of guys in the press too. I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
They're making a lot of mistakes out there.
Right. So somewhere along the way, the translation didn't make it from the coach's mouth to the guy's ears, that this is what we need to do and this is how we do it. The other argument, and we were talking about this earlier about being a player's coach. You're a guy that, he calls everybody and he cares for everybody, and Michael Parsons loves him and this and that. You're the guy that, and we've talked about this time and again, behind the scenes, he can get vocal, he can get nasty, he can get fired up, he can get loud in guys' ears.
In LaFleur?
In LaFleur.
Yeah.
I remember last year when he said, if guys aren't going to be performing the way they're supposed to perform, they can stand on the sideline next to me. Well, that never happened. Is it all bark and no bite?
No, I did have one player described him as very even keel.
Yeah.
And the way he described it was almost like, to a fault.
Yeah.
Like, do you have a pulse, Matt?
Right.
Well, that's great. Hardworking, dedicated, knowledgeable. Hey, how you doing today? Hey, how's the baby? That kind of thing. Are you doing okay? All right. Now listen, I expect you to do this. Okay. But there's still an objective distance there.
Mm-hmm.
We may have to cut you.
Right.
Otherwise, do you say, let's do this for the now and play for me?
Right.
Go out there and put your body in the line for me. And if you don't do it for me, do it for the guy next to you. And is he getting through to their hearts and minds? Because you have to play that game. I wish I could take what you see on TV is a third of the speed of what that thing is down there on the field. My gosh, they are so big and they are so fast and they are running side to side.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot believe how fast those guys come bursting out of the backfield.
Right.
These ball carriers. And now you got to track that guy. And then when they're Derrick Henry at 6'3" and 252.
With arms like thighs?
I got to bring that down.
Right.
I got to bring that down. Man, you've got to be willing to jump on the hand grenade and take one for the rest of the fellas.
Right.
In order to succeed in this business. And that's what I think these guys are talking about. Like, we didn't finish.
Yeah. Somebody didn't take the grenade to fire up the rest of us. Yeah. Interesting. Let's do this. You got more?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do this. We got Mike Clemens in studio. We'll make our picks in the last segment. This is fascinating stuff. We don't get to do this very often. It's like we're sitting in a bar having beer. So we'll just pour a couple of them. There we go. 2 of them and we're good to go. Oh, we can't forget about Grant. There you go.
You're not going to card me, are you?
No. Okay. Oh, hell no. Oh, no. And we're not even going to take money for this one. These are freebies. All right, stay tuned. We got more coming up right after this.
Let we go. This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Kind of a special night on the Huddle. We've got Mike Clemens joining us here in studio. And we'll go another 10 minutes, and then we've got to get into making some picks coming up after the break. So let's real quick, Mike, while we're sitting here, we're still waiting for, whatever is going to happen in Green Bay to happen. I said if there's going to be anything, any kind of negative news, usually comes out at 4 o'clock or 6 o'clock on a Friday evening, and then we got a whole weekend to digest it, and we'll talk about it on Monday when it's out of the news cycle. But what happens? I mean, is there coaches you think, like, if you look at, let's talk about the ones you think will be back. Now, let's take out Hafley for the time being because Hafley's interviewing for a head coaching gig, so we'll wait and see what happens there. Are there coaches you believe that, this guy's a lock to come back if Matt LaFleur's still the head?
Yeah, I think LaFleur has to report to Ed Policy and say, all right, I've talked to all my players and I've talked to my coaching staff. Here's where the breakdowns were this season. Here's where the things that, as you even put into your letter to the fans on the first Saturday of the month, like, boy, we had our fair share of adversity this year with Micah Parsons, Tucker Kraft, and others, right. Elton Jenkins going down. But, and I'm talking to Goody, and I understand what his needs are going to be in the salary cap and who we can keep and what his plans are going into the draft. But here's how I think that where we can improve as a coaching staff, what we can do to support Jordan Love, what we can do to support, the defense, and how we can improve our special teams.
Right.
And he'll have that recommendations. And then Ed Policy has to decide, okay, this guy's got a plan, or that's not what I was looking for.
Yeah.
But I gotta imagine that all along through this whole season that, day one, Ed Policy's got an outside NFL consultant with a depth chart of possible head candidate
right.
and general manager candidates, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a succession or hiring from outside on how to run those two departments.
How much does losing John Eric Sullivan matter?
A lot to,
I think so too.
A lot to Goody, because it's just, part of it is just, this is the way I think. You know how I think. This is our system. This is how we grade guys. These are shared experiences on things that we learned that worked and things that didn't work.
Right.
And just, the effort and the dedication and the efficiency, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Right-hand man. Listen, Brian Gutekunst is a really, really smart guy. I mean, he retains information and facts.
Right.
And he's not a smarty pants about it.
I like Brian. I really do.
It comes, and he tries to somehow still be a dad of 4 kids and, living in the Green Bay area and taking care of business. But he's got a lot of the integrity that Ted Thompson brought to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Ted was a little bit, in his own little orbit, but that voice is in his head about what's the best thing for the team.
Right.
What's the best thing for the team? Don't get into all this other drama about this player thinks you're, or this guy works with that. What's the best thing for the team? Because if you make that decision today, that's where you're going to want to be a year or 2 or 3 years from now.
I can't remember if we did it on the air. We were talking off the air here, but I've been saying for a long time, I said, look, special teams, Bisaccia was brought here to make them better. The highest they've ever been is 21, and that's over a decade. And they've gone from 28th to 30th to 32nd to 31st to 27th back to 21. The special teams aren't good. And part of it is, like you and I talked about, you don't have a guy. You don't have the big return guy. They had problems with McManus and the injury, and I think he just lost his swing. I still think he's really good, but I think he just lost his swing. I get all that. They've been terribly sporadic in the penalties and, big run backs in key situations and momentum shifters, as we saw in the Chicago game. But you're kind of like, when I say Bisaccia won't be back, you're kind of like, I don't know. Do you think Bisaccia is back if Matt LaFleur is back with this team? I know what you're going to miss from the guy. I mean, those players love that guy. Yeah.
He's challenging. He's competitive. He knows the history of the game, backwards and forwards.
Mm-hmm.
I ran into a long-time Packer employee that goes back to the Lombardi days, and that Rich reached out to him and lets him sneak into Saturday's practice.
Yeah.
And the whole point of that is because Rich wants to hear Lombardi stories.
Right. He's kind of old school.
It's good to have one of those guys on the staff, and that doesn't mean that he's way out of old school, that he's not getting through to the young players to be flyers or gunners and coverage.
Right.
Because for the most part, it's been that way. But, and when Romeo Dobbs screws up that onside kick, I don't know what to tell you. The next week he's got 8 catches and he's got the best hands in the NFL.
Right.
So I think that gets back to roster. I think special teams is more of a roster question.
Special teams has always been equated to the depth of your guys.
You need 4 or 5 thugs.
Yeah.
I mean,
just absolute badasses that have, I've always said special teams is a mindset. It's kamikaze. I'm going to go beat the hell out of somebody and there's nothing you can do about it.
I can tell you this. I've gone through Ron Zook, and Norm Cromwell was actually pretty good for Mike Holmgren, but all these other guys that have been through the door as special teams coordinator, Bisaccia is, when you ask him and his answers are right to the point, the techniques, the things we train, what's the opposition going to do, what the opposition's special teams coordinator has done in the past of his career, he's prepared. He's extremely knowledgeable. on the topic. That's why he's been around the league so long. I don't think he's been in the league too long. I really think when I see these mistakes being made, to me, it looks more like roster and less like, oh, these guys are disorganized and don't know what their assignment is.
Then it falls back on Goody.
That one I would put on
special
the scouting department. Yeah.
Okay.
Or the head coach, one of the two.
Right.
Because as they arm wrestle back and forth, well, I'm not going to give you those. Those are starters, man. They're not going to be
right
on punt.
Speaking
team.
of that, what in the hell were they doing putting Josh Jacobs on a kickoff return?
Desperate, I guess.
Wow. I saw that and I went, okay, now
that was Bo Melton.
You've jumped the shark.
That was Bo Melton.
Yeah. I'm like, wow.
I think it's a hands thing.
Yeah.
It's trusting the hands.
Right.
And decision making. That, the first most important thing to whether you're the kick or the punt returner is, what was your decision? After that, that's above everything else.
Right.
And it's that player maturity that we talked about. Yeah. That you're not going to choke like Dobbs did. You know?
Okay, I know. He was looking up. He saw what was coming at him.
You're going to make the right decision. You're going to catch the ball before you start running with it. And then after that, let your talent, take you there. And no one is less fearless of the oncoming pursuit of those tacklers than Josh Jacobs at number 8.
I've spent the last 3 days making my opinion known. So I'm going to ask you, Matt LaFleur, the players they haven't quit on him. You know the good, you know the bad. Has he taken this franchise maybe as far as he can take it, or is there more there if the right players are in place?
I don't know if he can get any better. I think he probably needs I think he needs help at offensive coordinator or something. I think that would be the smartest thing.
Like if he brings in his buddy Mike McDaniel and Stenovich is on the way out or something, I don't know.
McDaniel, I don't know if that's the right personality. That guy is.
Well, you and I saw him at Combine and went, wow, okay, he's the leader of men? I thought he was like the manager of Build-A-Bear.
This video game genius when it comes to, it just, I just, the mistake that Mike McCarthy made was he kept on bringing in, and the longer he went, the more insecure he got. But he had that ring to fend off the boo birds and the hot seat predictions for years until it got to the last year or two, and it got down to, of all people, a guy named Frank Signetti, who after they moved on from Alex Van Pelt for some internal reasons that I can't talk about, and Aaron Rodgers finds this out in the news. What do you mean you got rid of Alex? That's been my quarterback coach for the last 5 years.
Right.
And they brought in Frank Signetti, who's a Pittsburgh guy. His older brother is coaching Indiana to a national championship. Frank ain't the same dude. And he was just in over his head. On top of that, assigned to do what? Coach Aaron Rodgers?
Right.
Seriously? But I saw that happen to McCarthy in Green Bay, and I saw that happen to him down in Dallas as well. Matt LaFleur brings in Jeff Hafley. I don't really know the guy. I hear a lot of good things. I've done a lot of networking. I've done my homework. I've watched it. I've worked on this stuff. That's a pretty good hire.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good hire. He's going to need to make that hire again. Perhaps a defensive coordinator, perhaps an offensive coordinator. At special teams, maybe. But so far, I see LaFleur with bringing in fresh ideas. Like DeMarcus Covington from the Patriots into Green Bay to work with your defensive line.
Right. Let's do this. We're going to step out. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up, and we'll also start to make the predictions for the upcoming divisional round playoff weekend. Don't go anywhere. More of the Bill Michaels Huddle coming up right after this.
This is the Huddle with Bill Michaels on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Sometimes I get a good feeling. Yeah.
Welcome back in the Huddle. It's been a really good night. Mike Clemens in studio. I don't get this very often, so we take advantage of it when we can. There's a lot to get to. So normally we would go through the last couple of segments and start to make picks and everything, but since we were going so well, we only got 4 games to pick. We're going to bring in Grant, and we got Mike here. And the first game up on the docket coming up on a Saturday, which is a 2:30 local, 3:30 Central Time. The Buffalo Bills go on the road, the 6 seed taking on the 1 seed Denver Broncos. And I was pretty surprised to hear Mark Schofield today say he thinks the Bills are just going to pull it off. Like Josh Allen's just going to will this team, and they're going to pull it off and get to an AFC Championship game. Because there's no Lamar Jackson, there's no Patrick Mahomes, there's no Joe Burrow, anybody standing in the way. But this is probably the least talented team that Josh Allen has, and he still feels like he can pull it off against, Bo Nix, who's not a great quarterback by any stretch, but against this Broncos defense. It gave me a little inspiration. Grant, what's the spread on this game? Do you know off the top of your head?
Right now it's Denver minus 1.5 at DraftKings.
Oh, so they're kind of feeling it too.
Denver's favored, but not by much. You're not
Right.
going to get many points. If you're picking Buffalo, that's the thing. If I could get a couple more points, I'd feel better about it.
Right. I'm going to take Buffalo anyway. Mark gave me a lot of inspiration today. So
Is it the running game that you like too, besides Josh Allen?
No, it's just Josh's figure. He's throwing to nobody. He's throwing a bunch of guys you never heard of.
They got Brandon Cooks. What do you mean?
Yeah, Brandon Cooks, but there's no Stephon Diggs. They don't have anybody. Bunch of dudes.
I've just went to 17 NFL games.
Yeah.
I went to 2 joint practice sessions. I went to 3 preseason games.
Mm-hmm.
The most impressive quarterback performance I saw all year was Bo Nix in Denver.
Really?
I'm telling you.
You saw it's the best game of his career, Mike.
I guess because he started out as a quarterback manager, and by the fourth quarter, a game winner. And like Caleb, Sean Payton slowly opening up that valve,
right,
and just let him get in the groove and let this other stuff work for you, and keep it close, and then open it up and make your shots and stay in the pocket and complete your throws. And that's why that Packers locker room was not only distraught, as I said, because of
what happened to Michael Parsons.
Did they think it's an ACL? The other thing is, that's a complete team.
Yeah.
I because of that experience.
You're going with the Broncos?
Yeah, I think the Broncos are the team to beat.
Grant?
No.
If I could get a couple more points, I'd take Buffalo, but I think the Broncos will win close game, just like they have.
There you go. 49ers on the road taking on the Seahawks. I love what the 49ers have done. I love the defensive story. Fred Warner may or may not come back. The only thing about this game that scares me is the Seahawks. What's the spread in this game?
Seattle -7.
Draw.
At DraftKings. It could be different places, but
I'm waiting for that Sam Darnold we saw in the postseason last year to show up. I don't know if he's past that or not.
Man, the 49ers really had the very best of the Shanahan and the old-fashioned West Coast offense running.
Yeah. Right.
And, to the running back out of the outfield, to the short passing, to the high percentage throws. It's and the execution and the blocking, they made it look so easy.
Right.
Moving the chains. The other night.
McCaffrey's still there, and he's very good.
Yeah. So, they've got that down. Now, they took away Kittle, in the middle of that game, but were able to finish. But the Seahawks defense is tough.
Right.
And healthier.
7-point spread. I'll take the 49ers getting the 7 points.
In Seattle.
And I'm also thinking the real Sam Darnold might show up and keep the game close. And if it's the case, then I'll take San Francisco.
All right, I'll get stuck in with you just because it's Shanahan.
There you go. Grant?
The coaching has been so good. I will take the Seahawks. I have so much respect for what the Niners have done this year. I just think they are going to run out of guys.
You got the Texans on Sunday, the early game. That is a 2:00 Central Time contest. Texans and Patriots. The Texans and that unreal defense is the 5 seed. They go into New England and take on Drake May and company and what Vrabel's got going on. And even the coach got bloody in the last game, headbutting one of his defensive players.
That's a nasty defense the Texans
What's
have.
the spread?
New England -3.
So it's really kind of a pick 'em.
They're at home at Foxborough. But the Texans just played in Pittsburgh.
Now, Pittsburgh doesn't have the weapons nor the defense.
Nico Collins probably going to be out with that concussion.
Yeah, and CJ Stroud is average, but the defense, oh my gosh.
They're lights out.
Oh,
Donnell Hunter has got a resurgence down there in after he left Minnesota. I'm going to take the home team. Take the Patriots at home.
I'm going to go defense. I'm going to say the Texans.
Defense wins you
I will say the
championships.
Texans, yeah.
Grant?
Patriots. I think Drake May is that much better than CJ Stroud. But
okay.
That's the game that I'm most excited about.
The difference maker. There you go. And then 5:30 local down at Soldier Field. The number 2 seed Chicago Bears hosting the number 5 seed LA Rams, led by Sean McVay, who had Matt LaFleur at his wedding. What's the spread?
Los Angeles -3.5.
3.5.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
I need an hour on this one. Can we go another hour?
We got a minute and a half. 2 minutes. I'm gonna go Rams.
I think it's Caleb.
I'm gonna go Rams.
I think it's Caleb. The son of a gun's going to pull out again.
You think
home.
so?
Yes, I do.
Oh, my God. To put the Bears in an NFC championship game? Oh, my God. Grant?
I'm kind of with Mike. Stafford doesn't play well in the cold.
No, he doesn't.
Puka Nacua is a badass. If you tell me that the Rams can have a 3-score lead in the fourth quarter, sure. But anytime it's close, Caleb can, pull 1 or 2 of these magical throws out of his rear end and win a game.
I get it.
I'll take the Bears and the points.
I'm going to take the Rams. Maybe it's wishful thinking. Maybe it's because there's a Sean McVay with a Matt LaFleur in the back of his head. Maybe it's Devontae Adams who doesn't get fazed by any of this, who's back and he's your clutch guy, specifically in the red zone. But I'll take the Rams to knock off the Bears.
The Rams need to score 35. Their defense, their pass rush isn't good enough. Like they need to pour it on. And if Stafford plays well, I think they can win. Absolutely.
Right. They're good, but they're not great.
Gosh, I hope the NFL gets some ratings this weekend.
Right. I know. Good games all around. I mean, you're going to have a really good ratings with the Bills and the Broncos on Saturday. Huge game with San Francisco and Seattle on Saturday night.
The Bears win that one. If the Bears win that one, we're going to hear the cheers in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Well, maybe they start jumping up and down and that portion of the thing around the lake cracks off, falls into Lake Michigan. And
one can only hope.
It'll make the traffic better. That's for damn sure.
Do they have the stadium in Gary ready yet?
Yeah, not yet, which is another whole joke within itself. But so that's the way they line up. There you go. That's the games coming up this weekend. Anything else, Mike, before we get out of here?
No, that's just it. It says, stop texting me and ask me, is it true that he's been fired? Please stop doing that, okay?
Mike, I heard Matt LaFleur got fired. Is that true?
We'll let you know. We'll let you know.
If we see any kind of white people smoke coming out of 1265,
yes, sir.
We'll let you know. No word from Ed Policy yet. He didn't text me. He sends me selfie pictures, but that's about
I'm back in Milwaukee because I don't think I got a press conference tomorrow.
That's you're like Puxatawny Phil. If we see your shadow, we know nothing's coming. So there you go. That's the way we do it, and appreciate it to everybody taking a listen tonight. Kind of the special edition. The Huddle will be back again next week. We only got a couple of these things left, and then you, me, Grant, Kate, we wing our way
Super Bowl 60
to San Francisco, back out to Santa Clara.
Looking forward to it.
So we've doubled up a couple of times. We're going to double up LA next year. We're going to double up San Francisco. We've 3 or 4 times in Phoenix. And I was trying to go through all of them today. I don't know how many we've been through. We've been through a lot of these things together. So there you go.
Good times.
Good stuff. That's going to do it. Hopefully you enjoyed it tonight. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us, everybody in the live stream, everybody in the Cheap